keep going.
I gotta keep going, yeah.
Alright. I just put this.
Big ass mosquito. Okay. Ready? Go. Welcome back, guys, to another episode of the BullCityPioneers podcast. My name is Hector.
My name is Luis.
And today we got another guest. Sorry. I tend to do that a lot.
It's okay. I was like, I want to introduce myself.
We got another guest today. Oh, you want to introduce yourself to the audience and give us a little bit of context about what you do?
So my name is Ryan. I am from Raleigh, North Carolina. I am originally a dancer, but I have stemmed off and have within the past few years become a photographer and a filmmaker as well. So 22 years of age.
Young.
Yeah, not old. So
You're right on there, man. That's really cool. So kind of just to start off, what kind of like initially drove you to start doing film and photography?
Just like most people, I just kind of found it interesting. I always felt like I had an eye for it. It was one of those things where just kind of getting my hands on a camera was a tricky part. Growing up was never really fortunate because, you know, especially when you're younger, like even something as small as like this Canon, look at it now, you're older, you can work a job, you can get it no problem. But as a kid, it's like, oh, you know, this thing is pricey, this is a lot of money.
Yeah.
So getting your hands on something like that took a while. And when I finally did, it was just for fun, and I realized, okay, I really like doing this. Let me see if I can take it anywhere, and then started doing it more and more with friends. And then kind of once I got that reciprocation, I'm like, yo, these are actually really good. Kind of put me in a different mindset of like, oh, maybe I can kind of take this somewhere.
Yeah.
So that's what I tried to extend upon doing from that point. As time went by, I just kept getting better and just kept doing it more and more.
Right. Okay.
So.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, just to practice, right?
Yeah. Practice doesn't make perfect, but practice makes permanence, and permanence really kind of drives everything into, you know, the nail.
For sure. And before then, you mentioned that you're originally a dancer. So you want to give us a little background as to where that came from?
Hey,
Or how
That's a good mix.
You ever
dancing for film? That's a good mix.
I mean, I think it is because, like, you know, it gives me context of what it's like to be in front of a camera.
Yeah.
So I can put myself in somebody else's shoes and fully understand. And it gives me another perspective of when I'm like doing film work. Like, okay, how can I make this better? Or what would look better? And being in front of the camera, I know what it feels like. So it makes it easier for me to help my talent or my subject. Mm-hmm. But as far as dance, I mean, if you've seen America's Best Dance Crew, you know, like, just like anybody, you know, anybody growing up, like the reference was,
you used to watch those.
you seen the Jabberwockies?
Yeah, man, Periodics.
Yeah,
all of them.
Yeah, but Jabberwockies was like the first group of guys, because, you know,
Were they your favorite?
No, but growing up, that's, you know, who like the main center was around a lot of the people, because there wasn't, at least in my age, I wasn't the social type. I didn't know a lot of dancers or anything in the area. Me and my cousins grew up dancing together. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, we all watched the America's Best Dance Crew. We all saw Jabberwocky, so we kind of just had that basis. We're like, yo, we want to get into it like them. So we started learning all their choreography. As poorly as we did it, like we still have it like on private on YouTube. We're like, no, we gotta keep this.
You never put them?
No, we posted them.
Oh, okay.
But like, that's way back, and we have it on private now. I think it might be public. I don't know.
I was gonna say, like, I dare the audience to go and like try to find those. And, like,
honestly, I'll put it on public. If you guys want to find it, go for it. First person who does it, you get $5.
Oh man, yeah, that'll be interesting. I'll find it. No, just kidding. But what type of music do you like dancing the most to?
I don't really. I mean, I get that a lot. A lot of people ask me that.
Really?
I don't really have a favorite. I mean, anything I can just vibe to, anything that I would enjoy listening to. It doesn't have to be like, you know, a lot of people will hear like the crazy like dubstep songs, or, like, you know, the typical like trap songs. You just sit there like, hey,
yeah.
You're like, I'm like, no, actually, I mean, I form a little bit better with like slow, like hard hitting songs, and I think that's partial because, and that kind of goes with my photo and video work. I like to tell a story, and so I always try to showcase that with my dance. I've choreographed for people here and there, but I've always done it for fun, and I think that's just because I feel like I never really had as much of the foundation with dance, and and because of that, I was always super nitpicky amongst myself, and would get frustrated and could never finish a piece. So I was just like, you know what, this is something I'm just gonna keep to myself. I'm just gonna do it because I love to do it. Like, I don't need to make anything of it. If it happens, cool, but I'm not even gonna try. Like, I'm not gonna push for it.
It's more so a stress reliever than anything.
Right, exactly. Right. It's another outlet.
Yeah.
That was like my first format. First, yeah. So
Is film and photography your main stream of income right now, or do you have something on the side as well?
Sorry, I'm distracted by my cat.
Yeah, I keep looking over there too.
Is it a he or she?
It's she. Her name's Kylo.
Oh, okay.
She's like a year old, so she's just like either like mad calm or balls to the wall. And she's the latter right now.
She's a teen.
Oh, that's cute.
But yes and no.
Okay.
Yes, in the sense of it is a higher form of income, but I would say no in the matter of consistency.
Oh, okay.
You know, because I feel like with, you know, the phrase, you know, you gotta have a steady income.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as steady as you would getting, you know, like working a 9 to 5 or you know, getting like a bi-weekly paycheck.
Yeah.
Which is fine, and that also comes, I feel like, in a lot of different forms of art that you're trying to strive to make your business.
Of course, yeah.
You know, like a starving artist, you have to learn how to budget your money. So it comes with its pros and its cons.
Yeah.
But, you know, if I were to do it at the end of the day, and I started off and didn't know how to do it, or excuse me, I didn't have another job, I feel like I'd be in a completely different situation.
Yeah.
Because this is partial to considering, like I mentioned, you know, wasn't fortunate enough to really have money to be like, hey, I just want to get a camera, like, you know, have my parents buy that. Ultimately, I ended up creating like credit card, like, you know, getting credit cards and loans.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice because I'm confident enough to say that I'm good at what I do, and from that I can source an income.
Yes.
But right now, I'm using that to continue to pay off my equipment off.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it worked out in my favor, but it could have also gone in the wrong way, because I was like, yeah, I could have flopped. I could be really horrible at what I'd done. Nobody would want it, and nobody would want to hire me, so I wouldn't make income, and so I'd probably just have this accruing debt that I just have to only work like a 9 to 5 for and pay it off with, and that's kind of daunting.
Yeah.
Because like I tell folks, and it's never to like, no sense of gloating, but it's just like, yeah, I can do this full time, but I'm trying to be smart and work as much now. And I tell folks this all the time. You know, I'm trying to work as much as I can now, pay off what I owe, so I can have fun later.
Yeah.
You know, because a lot of people, you know, our age or my age, they just want to work through the weekdays and then use that money, blow it off on the weekend.
Yeah.
You know, that happiness is very temporary, and I don't want that.
Yeah, of course.
You know,
long term.
right?
Yeah.
Because that's always going to be there.
Yeah.
You know, so the same idea for school. You know, I didn't finish school, but with that being said, I recognize it's like, well, even though it's not my plan B anymore, I try not to have a plan B, because I feel like it's either all in or all out for this kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
But if it still was, it's that idea of that school's always going to be there. I can always go back. You know, even if it did hit that 3 or 4 or whatever the year mark is, where like, you know, your credits reset, I can still technically go back and finish, get a degree, and use that and further myself in that aspect.
Yeah.
So, right, exactly.
Then again, I mean, hey, you said it. You know, you're confident in what you do, and it's good work. So it's awesome.
Thank you.
If you can actually, you know, not have a 9 to 5 and do what you love right now, which is, you know,
Right.
yeah, film and photography. I actually had a couple questions.
Yeah.
That I wrote down on the way here. Let me pull those up actually.
I'm glad these mosquitoes aren't eating me. I was gonna change into shorts, and I was like, nah.
I'm kind of regretting not wearing shorts now.
I was like, yeah, hopefully they don't feel my feet. 'Cause I'm not trying to-
So I see that sometimes you record performances, correct, of others, you know.
Uh-huh.
One question that I had when watching your work is what are the thoughts or types of thoughts that go through your head when you have to record or capture a dance performance? Not your own, but like somebody else's, like capture somebody else.
Like
Well,
what sort of performance?
perspective wise? Oh, I mean,
Like
and
music events.
yeah, music events or like dance
like
performance.
actual event.
Yeah.
He said, what was it?
What type of thoughts go through your head as you're filming? to capture the performance or event at the best quality?
Well, I feel like, I mean, it really does vary, because all events, I mean, there are general events, yes, but a lot of events are different. So like a dance event, like a regular performance would vary from like
A music
like
video.
a workshop, or like
Okay.
like a music video, or like, you know, a workshop or a wedding. There's like a different thought process for each thing.
So it's like some events are more structured
Yeah,
than,
like
than others. Okay.
like weddings, I feel like are very structured.
You have to be a
of
little more
course.
intimate with that too, right? You gotta
Yeah,
be-
but at the
careful
same
with it.
time, it's like, and it's kind of funny because a lot of people are afraid of doing weddings because I feel like they'll go in and get that one crazy stressful or like one bad wedding, and then they're just like, nah, I can't do it. I'm not gonna do it anymore.
Yeah.
But I mean, just like anything, like, you know, trial and error. Like my first, you know, just like anybody's first time doing anything, it's not gonna be good.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like trial and tribulation, things you just have to overcome. But like, yeah, weddings aren't stressful for me anymore. I mean, I'll get like the ceremony because you got like one chance to get that shot. But like, once you kind of have everything established, as long as you take the right precautions, like you go to your location, just like any event, like you'll go to your location, kind of scout it out, get an idea
Ahead of time.
know what you're working with, so you don't go in like, you know, blindsided. You know, you get there, you're like trying to figure out what's your best angle, what shots you want to get, what works best, even what they're gonna do.
Yeah.
And if you go in without knowing that, I mean, it's gonna be stressful nonetheless. But I always like to take the time to go and do that, which I feel like everybody should.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I like to take the time to get to know my client, because I always tell them too. I'm like, yeah, like I prefer to work with you, not for you. You know.
Yeah. That's a good quote.
Right, because it's like having a mutual understanding of each other. Like I try to educate when I.
Sorry.
Are you good?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a
cut
shutter?
off. Yeah, I cut off for like. Okay. Back on. And
use my phone.
no, it's all good. All right, and we're back on. There we go.
But no, I try to educate my my clients, because a lot of people will just see good work or, you know, whatever they find interesting, and they're like, oh, I just want to hire this guy. And sometimes that works out because you know, I can shoot different types of genres because I understand different types of genres, and I have the different feel because I've had experience in different fields. But in the same sense, even if that's the case, I'm like, are you, like, when it comes to a wedding, like, they'll send me recommendations or like what they kind of want their stuff to look like, and I'm like, do you sure you want me? Because that's not like, I mean, everybody, you know, at the end of the day, I consider myself an artist.
Yeah.
You know,
Not a copycatter.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
And you should be original, and it's like, my style is my style, and I can switch and I can be flexible. But if you want, you know, when someone says that I want my stuff to look completely like this, I'm like, then you should go to this person,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
you know, so and so. So I feel like educating the consumer is what, you know, everyone should do as well. So because, and it's kind of the same idea, like when people do like super cheap shoots, and I'm not knocking on anybody for doing super cheap shoots, but when you don't educate the folks about like what else is out there, or their prices, or just like the quality of working for, like what's like that, like the work amount for the product, like what's actually being exchanged, then, you know, if I have a buddy who's doing $20 shoots, and then they come to me later down the road, want engagements, and I charge 150, 200, and they're like, just blasphemy, like they're not gonna understand. So I feel like when people go the length of explaining things to someone, it's all the more worthwhile. And it's like that kind of circles around, because it kind of helps the other community, because when someone does that, it doesn't, I feel bad for them, because I'm just like, especially when I see like, yo, your work's dope, like you should do more, like, and it's not to say, hey, you should take someone's money, because no, it's not.
Yeah.
You know, it's not. I mean, if you want to make it a business, yes, money is important, but it's not about the money, you know, obviously. But again, like you've heard it, I'm sure, a million times, like you should know your worth.
Yeah.
So I always feel bad for those folks, but it doesn't just knock on them; it knocks back on us and anybody else who does it as well.
Yeah.
So it kind of circulates a problem. So that's why educating, whoever you're working with, in any kind of sense, is like kind of like the best route, and that's what I try to do.
Awesome.
So.
It kind of works around that supply and demand type thing too.
Yeah. I didn't think about it in that way. Yeah, at all. But next question, we can just go to the next question, which was, what are the oddest or most interesting settings you have filmed before? Yeah,
Location-wise,
or like what you're filming. Either one.
I don't think I've had that odd of
Pretty sure all the places you've done are enjoyable.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. I don't. You pick and choose your battles, and I try not to put myself in situations that I don't want to be in. I've had offers for, what's the word?
I think I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, I've just had weird offers to do different types of work, and I'm, again, I'm not about the money.
Yeah.
And sometimes when they're just like, hey, I'm just like, well, you gotta stop, man.
Yeah.
Because because I try to stay true to my morale and like who I am and my work, So I really can't. I don't think I've had like a weird setting that I've shot in.
I mean, I said it can be like the most interesting.
I think, well, there's a lot of interesting ones. I think probably one of my favorites.
There we go, favorite. That's good.
Is so there was an event. Who runs it? It's a Raleigh event group, and basically they would have me out a Sunday or two out of like every other month or so. This was a few years ago, but basically, I'll just bring my camera, and I would take pictures of freaking puppies for like 2 hours.
Okay.
No, dude, like
can't knock that.
So it was basically a pup. They called it a pup crawl. So it was basically a beer crawl, like a bar crawl.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But everyone had to bring out their puppies. I mean, you didn't have to, but everyone was encouraged to bring out their dogs and their puppies. So I just was just sitting there. I didn't get paid much, but it's like, hey, you can have free drinks, and here's a little bit of money and a food voucher, and you get to chill with dogs for the day. I'm like, I got nothing to do on a Sunday, so why not?
Life,
Yeah. So that was pretty fun. I did that a few times with them. That's it. That's probably like one of my favorites, and that was so long ago, and it's that was before I kind of recognized like, oh, I wanted to do this for like a living. I was like, oh, this is kind of cool.
I guess it was that important because it was that memorable.
I mean, dude, when you're surrounded by puppies all day long, dude, and for some, animals are like, what is this thing?
Yeah, right.
And so they're just sniffing on the camera.
Yeah. Now, do you usually shoot in North Carolina? Or have you shot outside? Or out of the state or the country even?
No, I haven't gotten. It kind of falls on the same line of me trying to get my stuff paid off first,
right?
Before, because I do want to travel. I haven't traveled much. I've done a lot of driving up and down the East Coast, but I haven't had the chance. I haven't made the chance to really go anywhere else. I'm gonna go to Brooklyn I've never been to New York, so I'm gonna go to Brooklyn for the first time in September.
Vacation wise, or
for once, because I've always been booked on my birthday since I was like 18.
Wow.
I don't just draw the luck, I guess, but I decided this year I was like, you know what? Nah, I'm gonna take some time off.
Yeah.
I actually I thought I had a wedding booked in September. So my birthday's the 24th. The wedding was like the 21st or 2nd. Only to realize that it's actually next year. So I was like, nah, I'm just gonna take this trip for myself.
A whole year.
Yeah, a whole year in advance.
So
hey, that's how I know you're credible. I mean, you have people scheduling you 1 year in advance.
Right.
That's awesome. That's dope.
And it's so much nicer for weddings too, because like a lot of people don't realize is how much planning goes into a wedding.
Yeah.
Like kudos to anyone who works as a wedding coordinator. Like it's a ridiculous workload, and lucky enough if you don't get stuck with a bridezilla, because when you do, and I'm lucky I haven't had to work with one. Like
I think it's really cool too that you bounce back and forth between those things. Like you do weddings, you do movies, you do music videos, and you do all this other like genre. I guess genres.
Genres
of photography.
Yeah.
You don't just stick to one, which kind of gives like it gives you kind of like more credibility.
Right. I mean, that's the thing too. If you mean, I don't like a lot of people don't notice like anyone who does this kind of work. I mean, they do a lot of times. They'll tell you they'll do a lot of different types of work. They'll do a lot of things down the line. You know, it's just not their work, so it's not something they post. You know, like I know a lot of folks who do real estate. That's their main source of income. You know, but they'll love to do music videos, automotive stuff, and other odds and ends, and that's just what they, you know, care to share. And in a way, that's nice too, because it's like they have their main source of income, but they also have, you know, that creative aspect where they can really put themselves out there and continue to further themselves in that stature. So.
By any chance, do they make you film like the behind the scenes of any, like, let's say a wedding or an event, like behind the scenes?
No.
Pre-wedding.
I mean, all of a wedding's all of a wedding. I mean, I feel like everything is and isn't behind the scenes.
Yeah.
That's kind of a redundant
Unless
statement.
you're like filming the honeymoon or something like that.
That's actually behind the scenes. I don't know about that.
No.
But I mean, I feel like weddings would kind of be excluded from that. But in generally speaking, behind the scenes, no. Though I think a lot of people should kind of request, like, well, so they'll use, I think behind the scenes is a really good thing. I've grown to really, really love behind the scenes work, and anytime I see somebody post behind the scenes work, I'm almost just as interested as that than the actual product.
That's how I am. Yeah.
Right, because you can see, I mean, for one, how they put everything together, but more so like how much time and effort really has been put into a project, because it lets you appreciate that final product that much more.
Many things look easy, but truly,
no.
Yeah.
I mean,
And you're like, oh my god, you did that like that.
Yeah.
How? Like, even though you showed me, I still don't get it.
Yeah.
But if I had like, you know, the funds to bring somebody out to just solely do behind the scenes, I'd love to. Just because it's like, you know, showing somebody the time and effort that goes into a project, it lets the audience know, dang, this is really what it took. Because, you know, a lot of people can get impatient about you. Oh, yo, when you dropping that new music video? When you dropping this new project? I heard so-and-so and so. Right.
And if you don't, they think you're not doing nothing.
Right, exactly. You know, because, like, you know, we'll go out, anybody who does what I do, we'll go out and film or photograph an event or whatever. You know, we'll sit, like, we'll slave behind a computer, you know, getting it done, especially when it comes to people who are perfectionists, you know.
Yeah.
That's just even worse, because they're just sitting there like tweaking
little
every odd end.
Should have somebody like filming you while you're filming backstage.
Yeah, pretty much just like, hey, just fall on my shoulder. Yeah.
Do you have? Well, I know that you've done a lot of works, but do you think you have one film or even photograph that you think is like the best? Like bottom line, the best that you've produced.
Photograph or video?
Video, more video.
Or like a collection or something.
Or like a collection, yeah.
Either way, I don't know. It's hard to.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd probably have to say the two latest music videos. So the one I did with the Deep End.
Okay.
Shout out Malcolm. And another one I did with this artist, his name is he goes by Equip. He's based out of Greensboro. But with every project, I always, you know, every creative project, I really try to like set the bar higher and higher. I don't, you know, when people say like, that's what I don't like, when people are like, yo, I'm the best of this, I'm the best of that. I'm like, okay, cool, I like the confidence, but at the same time, they're capping themselves. They're putting a ceiling of saying like, this is where I'm at. You're not gonna get any better. You know, and some people that doesn't, you know, they don't fall into that case. But I don't like saying that.
For you
I like, right. I like to just tell myself. I like to tell myself that you know, I'm just gonna get better and better with each project. And I have no problem admitting when people are better than me. I have no problem saying when I'm wrong, and when I need to get better. And that's, I think that's the thing that, like, a virtue that a lot of people lack. And so that's kind of what I hold high of myself, is that because I'm able to do that, it allows me to get better every time. So I say those 2 projects because those are both my latest things that I've worked on. And when I sit there and I finish and I export my video, I'm like, yo, this is dope. Mm-hmm. But then I'll sit there like a week later, 2 weeks later, and a month later, I'm just like, yo, I need to come out with something else because this is trash.
Keep
not
going,
to say,
man.
not to say like
consistently keep going.
Just constantly moving.
Right, and like I try to push myself and just realize like, yo, I can do so much better. And if I try to believe that in myself.
I feel like that's just natural though. You just want to naturally push yourself.
Right, and that's the thing,
especially with your craft.
Right, and it'd be a lot of people don't have that, which would be it's unfortunate too, especially because I see a lot of folks that are talented, and that's kind of going to say that not a lot of people are cut out to do this kind of stuff, and so lost my train of thought, but those are my 2 favorite projects as of late, and also because of just the amount of effort, like the Skeletons music video, the one with the deep end. We went out. I appreciate it.
It came out really nice.
We went out to Jockey's Ridge to go film that music video. That's out right before you get to the Outer Banks.
Yeah.
That's about like 3 hours out. I wasn't satisfied with like some of the footage, so I ended up going back myself just so I could get extra B-roll. Because I was like, I'm just missing a lot. Mm-hmm. Because
you went on your own.
Yeah, well, I took a friend with me.
Okay.
My friend Liz, she just came down. She was just like, I just want to go to the beach. I was like, hey, you busy today? Let's go. So we just went out. We just chilled out there. It was cool. The other one was shot in Greensboro, and that's another thing too. It's like, I'm all about, local stuff. That's fine and cool. But a lot of people are always like, yo, support local businesses, support local homies. I'm like, it's not even that. I'm just like, no.
Or they just like want to be a part of the hype. They just want to like say they're about it or something.
I mean,
is that what you mean?
No. So I'm going more towards the direction of saying, when a lot of people say that without recognizing like actual like work and talent, and the fact of like, you can't just support every other person.
Mm-hmm.
Support them if you really believe in what they do and if they are really good and do have that potential. Like the guys in here, like again, they're all my best friends. They're all in the band. I support them to the ends of the earth because they are all super, super talented. If they sucked, I'd be like, yo, y'all some trash. Like, I can't do that. Like, y'all gotta stop. You're wasting your time. Don't stop wasting your money on the studio.
Just get out the studio.
Right? No, but they're super good. Shameless plug. They go by OCNS.
Yeah.
Check them out.
I was gonna ask, like, I couldn't remember. It's just like all letters, the name.
Yeah, OCNS. Go backwards, C, and S. I was trying to do it backwards. But yeah, so like I find it. I just always kind of laugh at the deal when people say that. I lost track of the question. I forget where I was going.
You good? One question that I had is, do you relate or do you look up to any classic filmmakers? Like the classic old day ones, or do you think it's more you're your own motivation? You just look for different styles depending on the situation of what you have to film.
I wish I could say that I do, and that's partial because I haven't sat down to really study other older filmmakers. I've recently just more started watching like older films, like 60s, 70s.
Oh, okay.
And like again, in my spare time, I'll sit down and watch music videos. I'll watch short films, and then I'll try to pick up what I do and don't like, which I kind of hate because now I can't watch a movie normally. I'm just like, damn, this camera work is crazy.
I remember learning that stuff in like high school. I took a film course, and you had to learn like the different angles and the touch angle and all that stuff, and then like you start picking at it once you go see a movie. Like,
I can't watch this dang thing in peace.
Oh, the suspense is coming.
Like sometimes like when I'm watching like independent movies, I'll like stare at the corners. Because it's like I'm trying to see how much the camera's shaking, and I'm just sitting there staring at the corner the whole movie, and I'm like, the dude's like this. I'm like, oh my gosh. But no, I wish I could say that I do have a favorite. I really have recognized that lately, and I've been trying to find inspiration in a lot of different places.
Do you have anybody you look up to in the field, or no? Is it
one guy is Mike Koziel. think that's how you pronounce his name. But I follow him on Instagram. I heard of him because growing up, I was always into automotive work.
Okay.
So cars. I had, I don't know if you're familiar with a Mazda Miata, the little pop-up lights.
Oh yeah.
So I used to have one of those, and I love that thing. But just in general, I was always into, cars and that whole scene. He always did video work alongside Anthony Purcell, who goes by Halcyon, and Chris Petruccio, he goes by Crispy. And those guys were kind of like the ones that everyone were like, yo, have you seen so-and-so's video? Like, yo, do you do video? Can you make it look like this guy? Like, those are like the kind of guys that everyone, like, those are like the big names, supposedly.
Tarantino's
Right. But Mike Cozio, I always thought his style was kind of interesting because he, I just really enjoyed watching his stuff a little bit more. And then upon following, he just did more and more work. Like, he kind of got out there a bit more. And so he's played DP, he's been DP and just director on a lot of bigger projects, and I just thought that was really cool from seeing like this guy. I mean, I obviously don't know him. I've met the other two, and they're cool guys, but I haven't met Mike before. But his stuff was always interesting to me, and it was really good. And upon following him, I just thought it was kind of cool again that he started doing just that kind of work and ultimately got better. And I mean, I don't know his whole come up because there was a point where, like, I wasn't following like a lot of people and keeping up tabs. And I just saw his stuff one day and I checked on his stuff and I was like, yo, this dude is doing crazy things. Damn, like, that latest music video from X that came out called Sad.
Oh yeah. I've seen it. You haven't seen it?
I don't think so.
So you should check it out. It's really dope. But you know how like how big he was. Like I think he was either director or director of photography on that and helped film it. But I was like, yo, that's dope. Yeah. So and like. Huh?
Oh yeah.
No, you're good.
No, continue.
I was just gonna say like back on like filming like those two other music videos and like the whole local thing too. Where I was going with it was
squirrels.
Okay.
Hey. But where I was going with it is that I'm unlike the whole like if I've been anywhere, I've been trying to travel and like network outward because I feel like there's almost a hierarchy of things of how people are supposed to work. There's gonna be like when I was growing up, I always thought, yo, like I feel like everyone has potential and everyone's meant to do big things. And I grew up and I was like, no, that's not the case. Like there's always gonna be a consumer, like the buyer. There's gonna be people like what I'm trying to strive to be, like someone original trying to make it out there and do like bigger things. There's gonna be people that stay at the local level that are meant to cultivate that local society or serve as a mentor. And I was like, I don't want to be at that level. I'm trying to be up there. So I feel like like even for music videos, like Raleigh especially, since there's a lot of photographers and when you go to a spot, people take a picture there and they're like, yo, I know that spot. I'm not trying to have that feeling because like when I do work, I don't want that there because that's just distracting. Because when people can be like, oh, like unless it's a video for Raleigh and it's meant to be in Raleigh, I don't want somebody to be like, yo, I know that spot. Like, yo, I've been there before. That's tight.
It makes sense you branched out over there then.
Right.
Yeah.
That for the Skeletons video, like there was one part that we shot here. It was like
really?
It was the second, like in the second verse.
Was it the little part in the TV?
Mm-hmm. There was a driving part. And he was in the car. We did it like 5 minutes from here because it was just a night scene that I needed a car with. I was like, yeah, let's just throw this in there. Like this would be dope.
Okay.
But otherwise, I was like, no, I'm not doing anything here.
Yeah.
I don't like at all. So.
One question that kind of popped up in my mind when you were talking about local and bigger higher end filmmakers is, what do you feel? How do you feel about the oversaturation of drone footage? I mean, like I feel like everybody's doing that nowadays. Like it's crazy. I mean,
what do you mean with that?
like, you know,
using drones.
Yeah, using drones, I guess, for videos. I mean, back in, you know, let's say.
You can still do so much with that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, people like, because I mean, it still has a gimbal on it. Like, people can, like I said, I've seen people, like, they'll hold the drone like this and they'll walk around and it'll act as a steady camera. You know, because they shoot in a very high quality, a lot of them nowadays. I mean, I don't feel anything against it. I don't feel anything really for it. Because the thing is, it's like anything. It's like you can have like an Ari or a Red camera, like a really nice and expensive camera, but if you don't know what you're doing, like, it's gonna look like poop.
Of course.
So,
of course.
You know, it's what you do with it. But
now, do you plan on, like, with filming, is the end goal like to make your own movie someday or something?
No, so I mean, I think my end goal really is just to kind of, you know, be a producer or director and just be able to have
create a name.
Right, basically have a name and to kind of fortify that and kind of make a team, because that's my, like, and I tell people this all the time, it frustrates me that it's so hard to make and find a team of people, because everyone wants to be the lead person.
So you don't have a team right now, or no, you don't?
So I try to pull in, you know, people I rely on, and lately I've been like pulling in you know, some of my talented friends here and there, people that I actually already do trust. And I'm like, yo, here's like, and I'll throw like income their way when I can, because, you know, I'm all about it. Like, I'm trying to help you out, but I feel bad when I can't compensate for somebody. I'm not gonna ask somebody like, yo, can you come help out and like do it for free? I'm like, no, F that, no. Especially when they love what they do. But
it's that Latino mindset.
Yeah.
Wait, what race are you? I don't.
I'm yes. Asian. So I'm 3/4 Asian, quarter white.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. My dad's half white, half Vietnamese. My mom's Cambodian.
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, I'm just like, I get it a lot.
You told me you were Latino, man.
I never said this.
The last time we met, I
No.
thought. Well, damn. There's that back. That
I think I gotta
blooper
go
right there. Cut.
Yeah, man. You want to tell us where can we find you, just to close it off, you know?
So you can find me on Instagram, on my website, LinkedIn, which I'm still kind of fixing up because I'm still trying to understand how that works. Everything under Ryan Pham, but it's RyanPhm, because in every other aspect, PHAM, my full name was taken.
Oh man.
So I was like, this still looks fine. I'm just gonna keep trying it. Yeah.
Right.
On the closing scene.
Yeah, right. God.
Okay.
It's all good though.
And we're back on. Who's gonna clap this time? There we go. Thank you.
No, but you guys can find me at, you know, RyanPHM, pretty much my name, but without the A in my last name.
Okay. And that's everywhere, or all the social media that you do have?
Yes.
Do you have YouTube?
I do. The YouTube's the only exception because I can't change that, because I made that from when we started dancing. So it's like XX Kid Ryan with 2 D's XX.
Oh, yeah.
Go find those dance videos.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna find them on there. We got like we made like a separate dance video.
I used to do it a little bit actually. I think I told you this last
time.
I still have like my own little tut video up there. I was really into tutting.
Yeah, we all were at the point. Yeah,
I kind of low key want to get back into it though.
Do it.
Yeah, man. Because it's like I really like enjoy watching dancing. That's why it caught my eye a lot when I first saw you.
Right.
The first video that I saw of you was a dance video, and I'm like,
really?
I really like this guy. Like his style, especially since you do it in your free time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this guy's pretty good. Let me keep updated on what he's doing and see what he's doing.
I appreciate it.
Cool.
So yeah,
Awesome.
man.
Yeah, and do you want to leave like a question or a quote for the people, or
that's how we like to finish off every episode.
I wish I knew that, because then I would have thought of something like.
That's why we don't tell them, because we like to catch them off guard. Mm-hmm. Something for the audience that you want to ask the audience, and they'll leave the answer to that question or whatever thought that you have in your social media. I
wouldn't ask a question. I'll say this quote because I was talking to one of my best friends, Kaylin. She's also a dancer. But I was hanging out with her the other night, and it's just something. I was saying something along the lines of, let me see if I can remember it. It was, you know, like the saying, like, you are who you surround yourself with. Mm-hmm. So I was telling her, you are who you surround yourself with. So, and they make you who you are. But if you're allowing yourself to be surrounded by people that you don't need and people that you're questioning, then who does that make you?
Okay.
You know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you have to pick and choose very carefully who you want to be, and then allow yourself to cultivate that within who you're around, what you do, and everything about your life. Because before you can do anything, like for example, before you get in a relationship, you know, you have to understand yourself. You have to know yourself before you can, you know someone else. So that it's that in every sense of that phrase. So really just kind of know yourself and put your best foot forward, because if you allow yourself to kind of get skewed and you can't walk the talk, then you're going to be no better than half the people that you think that you're not.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
Try to sound sophisticated.
Yeah. No, yeah, we get it, man. 100%. Yeah, it makes
Yeah.
a lot of sense. It's what we think about a lot too.
Yeah.
Like we talk
Right.
a lot on our rides here too when we come to meet people.
Right.
We say like we can't keep like hanging around people who don't feel the same thing we do, want to do the same things we do.
Right.
Passion wise,
And
yeah.
if that means adding somebody with good energy or dropping somebody with bad energy, then we have to do
It's
that.
it's simple. It's a lot of people don't understand that, and you kind of have to just be like, you know what, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same idea of like a lot of people in different countries. You know, when they call someone your friend, like they'll do anything for you.
Oh yeah.
You know, I went to the links of like adding that to my morale and saying, I don't call a lot of people friends anymore. Like all the guys in the house, they're my best friends. You know, anybody I call a friend, like I would go to the ends of the earth for. But like I'm just like, it felt weird at first, but I'm like, you know, I'll call people acquaintances. Like I'll call people bud. You know, but that's just, you know, I just feel like part of that little aspect that I wanted to add to my lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah,
So
sure.
yeah.
Well, we really appreciate you taking the
Hey,
time.
Thanks a lot,
no
man.
to
problem.
do this, man.
No problem. Thank you for
so
having
much.
me.
Yep. And yeah, like always, leave that, I guess, a comment on the quote that you just left for us. Or
Your thoughts,
something.
anything?
Thoughts on what you thought of this episode.
This dude's whack. He's
Yeah.
stuttering. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
All of us stuttered a little
Yeah,
bit, so it's
yeah.
all good.
Yeah.
Hey, it's harder than it looks.
Yeah,
Oh,
People
yeah,
do
way
this
harder,
stuff.
yeah.
It's like you said, we gotta get used to the camera, and like when we first started, we were awful. I
Awful.
mean, we're getting
Yeah.
better.
We're getting
like,
better.
It's nowhere near where we want
Yeah.
to be for sure,
Yeah,
but
of
like, we're
course.
getting better, and that's
Right.
that's all it is.
You want to
practice.
continue growing, yeah.
But yeah, you guys can leave the comments to that on the podcast and on that quote that Ryan just kindly left for us in his social media or in all our social media as well, BullCityPioneers. Also, if you got any comments, questions, concerns, leave that over at BullCityPioneers@gmail.com. I would really appreciate that. You guys know that we love to hear feedback from you guys, and we want to know what you guys want to see on the podcast, who you want to see it, and what you want us to talk about. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to this week's episode, and we'll see you on the next one.
Once again,
Hit that dislike button.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, hit that dislike button real quick.
Once
Just
again,
real quick.
Hey, so what's up, guys? It's Ryan Pham. If you can do us a favor and let's get 100,000 dislikes on this
All
video.
these negative comments, unsubscribe from us. Just don't.
No, that's a little too far.
What were you gonna say real quick?
I was just gonna end it by once again, this is Luis.
Oh, Hector and
Ryan.
and we're off.
Thank you.
Hey, man.